Who took the bomb?
You're listening to the Bingo Hall Boys, a weekly podcast where we talk about independent professional wrestling. This week, we'll be discussing Swerve and Nick Wayne's match from Defy, Biff versus Wheeler Yuta and Beyond, the two-night collaboration from West Coast Pro and Prestige Wrestling. Did Warrior 20 live up to their lofty reputation? GCW debuted in the ATL, and Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. My name's Jake, and joining me is my co-host Mitch. Mitch, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Jake?
Doing good. A little bit of a mishap. Unfortunately, I'm forced to do daylight savings.
Yeah.
You are a free man living up in Canada who does not.
No, we count as the same time zone for about half the year, and then the other half of the year we count as the same time zone on different times. So it is what it is.
We're gonna have to stay on top of that because this is gonna get really weird really fast. So did you do anything this weekend besides watch wrestling?
No, that pretty much covered it. This was Friday night marked the end of our indoor track season, so we've got about a 2-week break from that. So I celebrated my temporary freedom by binging a hell of a lot of wrestling over the weekend.
Some would say too much.
This podcast is not for those people.
Dude, I don't know. I'm really glad that the third show that Prestige ran this weekend hasn't loaded yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could have gotten to it without of like skipping work.
Oh,
or something
yeah.
like that. Like
No,
there was just
there's
no
no
way to
way.
catch everything. Like I just watched Swerve Wayne before I thought we were going to get started. So like an hour ago, and dude, I loved it. I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, everything's going good. Just chilling. It feels like my wife and I are trading off being sick. So like one of us is sick and then something's wrong with the other. Yeah. And so hopefully we're getting done with that. So what do you want to get into first?
Well, let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room. There has been a recent purchase of a major promotion that has some ramifications for this.
Yeah. So whenever we started with the idea of this podcast, it was like, well, Impact is kind of vague if we're going to cover them. They do weekly TV that's hard to stay on top of. Same goes for MLW. They have some talent that we like, but like, what does that really look like as far as covering? Ring of Honor, we kind of landed on that one only covering like pay-per-views and like major events and stuff like that. Now, I don't even know if they're going to be on our radar at all now that they're bought, outright. But anyway, yeah, so the news was, I don't know how much you know about Sinclair, how much money they've spent over the last couple of years. So they spent $9.6 billion with a B on 21 regional sports networks, and they're not really seeing a great return on that so far. So Ring of Honor was like their biggest and easiest asset to move for an undisclosed amount of money. I cannot wait until that number just like accidentally gets out there.
Yeah, most of the rumors I'm hearing are somewhere between 30 and 40, but they're just unsubstantiated rumors, so who knows what the real number is.
Yep. So for that undisclosed amount of money, Tony Khan saved the ROH library from just being another thing that the New York Fed bought and not really use. He's obviously a massive ROH fan and says he has plans on not just like respecting the legacy, but they'll be doing shows moving forward. Mitch, what are your big picture thoughts on Khan's Ring of Honor and what effect that's going to have on the independents?
I mean, regardless of how the contracts get structured, I think we can assume pretty safely that at worst they would be similar to the AEW style wins, where outside of maybe a few key players, they are still relatively frequently making indie appearances. Sure. And if we follow the line of thought going around, which seems pretty logical, that Ring of Honor is going to essentially act as Khan's version of an NXT type program, I don't think it'd be unreasonable to assume that almost every single contract is going to be somebody who's still going around on the independents. So from my perspective, that on the surface seems like a big positive because it's going to allow more wrestlers to safely make enough money and do only, higher quality independent matches and not have to grind quite as hard. So hopefully we'll get some better quality out of it. Hopefully it'll keep things going the same way a lot of the Impact guys are working on the indies, and I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what that roster is going to look like because, before they formed a new faction, I thought that Daniel Garcia would have been perfect to really kind of carry on, like what Danielson did back in early Ring of Honor. I feel like he would have just been the poster child for like what Ring of Honor would be moving forward. I mean, maybe still, but I think guys like Lee Moriarty, Nick Wayne would make a ton of sense there to give him just like a home. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Are they going to do a women's division? Like Khan can really do whatever he wants here. And I don't know if this is going to be something that replaces the dark shows. I don't think it would have to. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what kind of talent he would use, because we're going to end up covering it later on in the show, probably in our next segment, but the indies are really dry right now. There's not like a ton of people out there who really deserve major contracts. And I mean, if you look at the people that like Ring of Honor had on their roster, it was a lot of people that were just like friends of Ring of Honor who just, had jobs because they're there. I could see some people like Silas Young. I would absolutely keep him around. But then again, like, are the Briscoes even going to be around? Word got out that the HBO executives weren't too happy with the idea of the Briscoes being brought into AEW proper. So if Khan does put together a massive TV deal, what does that mean for the Briscoes? There's a lot of dominoes I'm waiting to see fall. But then again, that's where you could put your veterans who don't really want to work all the time. So I keep praying that we'll get to talk about Chris Hero matches at some point. Samoa Joe would be awesome for that too. I don't know, because I don't know if I want like a full blown invasion angle thing, like a lot of people are kind of fantasy booking. I kind of want it to be its own like separate thing.
Yeah, I think we just saw that invasion angle go through Impact, and I think all of those people that did that invasion angle are now also under contract to Impact. So
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really looked at what the Supercard of Honor, like if any of that's changed. To be honest, I'm kind of dreading looking at the WrestleMania weekend stuff because it's going to be a lot of homework for us.
But
yeah,
don't have much announced for it. We don't have much announced for it yet at all. Like, we know Swerve against Sauce Scott is still there, which in hindsight was, that was announced with full knowledge that Tony Khan was buying Ring of Honor. So that was a little subtle tease that, Swerve was going to show up in AEW. So, but that match is still there, which, if we're following that line of thought, likely means that Alex Zane's going to be a major part of the Ring of Honor side of things going forward, which would make a lot of sense. Like, he seems like a good fit for it. But that's really, and we have I think they did announce the Briscoes versus question marks right now, which the obvious tease would be FTR, but I think they did just announce that the Briscoes are still a part of that. So what that means for actual ROH going forward, I don't know, but for the super card, it sounds like the Briscoes are still on the table.
And I think if they use this as developmental, the team that stands out the most to me is Private Party, where they need reps bad, and getting them in on the YouTube shows, it's not really doing them a lot of good. They're probably going to be doing a program coming up soon. That's one of those teams where it's just like, there's potential there, but if you're not getting reps in, what's that going to look like? Yeah, I don't know. If Ring of Honor can become basically a super indie again, I'm going to be really happy. And it's really going to show us his tendency for picking talent. Because like I said, guessing on the kind of people that he brought in to the Jacksonville Fed, I don't think a lot of that same roster is going to be there. I think it's going to be a lot of overturn, which isn't a bad thing, but I think he's going to have a hard time finding people to fill it with.
Yeah.
So we might go back to the old school 8-man tournaments for a while, which I am totally fine with. So let's get to it.
Absolutely.
Swerve versus Nick Wayne. Did you love this as much as I did?
Oh, I just finished it before we started this. I was watching it the last kind of 30-40 minutes while I was eating supper, and Nick Wayne is really, really special. Like,
That guy.
you cannot have that match at 16 years old.
Osprey wasn't even this impressive.
No,
whenever
he
came
wasn't.
around in the scene. Like you could see there was some stuff there, but like his selling was all
Yeah.
over the map. Dude, like Nick Wayne is basically ready to go, and he's still 2 years away.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, this took place at the end of February and is up for free right now on YouTube, on Defy's official channel. It's Swerve making his wrestling return to Defy. And dude, the crowd made this so special. Like they love both guys and they're super into it for the entire match. Swerve comes off as an even bigger star than when he left. Like Connecticut's dumb as hell for letting him go. Like I imagine not knowing what to do with this guy. Like I know that you're racist, but like he's a star. Like this is the guy to build around. But yeah, the match itself was one of my favorites of the year so far. Just in general, like every promotion put them together. This was one of my favorites so far. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think I tend not to talk about Defy much because it's largely hidden behind a paywall that really only gets you Defy in terms of things you'd want to watch. So this, for a 1 month show, this match alone would have been worth the price of admission for a month subscription there. Like the match was that good. Yeah, could have sucked it up for the 1 month, but it's up for free now. Go watch it. It was absolutely incredible.
No, yeah, they're good about putting like their best stuff on YouTube. Like the Nick Wayne was kind of on my radar, but not really. But whenever I saw the match against Janela, I think they uploaded that back in November. I was like, oh my gosh, like I really got into Nick Wayne matches. So yeah, they have a tendency to put their best matches up for free, but yeah, the 17-ish, I think.
Something like that.
Per month, and their cards aren't like super shows. So it's like you'll get maybe 1 or 2 matches that are like, whoa, I've got to see that. And I don't think the value's there. But anyway. Hey, they give us free codes. We will watch every single show.
Absolutely.
Promise you that.
If they come out anything like this match, I mean, if I could get 2 matches like this a month out of them, that'd be worth my $17.
Oh, yeah. So what'd you think of the match itself?
Unbelievable. Swerve looks like he never missed a beat from working the Connecticut style for a while. I mean, granted, you get a little more freedom in the developmental part there, but he looked as good as new. Nick Wayne, as many amazing matches as Wayne's had this year, I think this was probably his best, which is a high bar to set. But
yeah, this was definitely a statement match for Swerve. And just another feather in the cap of Nick Wayne, who again is 16 years old. Like I want to get to the point where we don't mention his age or his dad. The first indie show to do that, I'm going to give massive props to. But Defy's his home promotion, and in a very short time frame, he's had top tier matches against Joey and now Swerve. And again, like it's so easy to make that Osprey comp. I have no clue exactly how high his ceiling is, but it's really freaking high.
Yeah, you could tell me it's Osprey high, and I'm not going to argue it.
Yeah, I think the bringing in Nick Wayne's mom. I that kind of like I was a little weary of that. I was like, Swerve, please don't bring that NXT stuff to the end. Like, come on, like. But I really liked where it ended up, and I thought it was a really good story because considering he is still a minor. But yeah, I really love this match. Dude, I forgot how much I loved Swerve's like jumping shining wizard kicks to the side of the head. Like it's so hard to describe what that is, but it's one of those things that it's not vicious but looks absolutely brutal. So whenever he's just hitting those on a prone Nick, like dude, I loved it. And then this is probably the part where I'm gonna go off on a tangent, but Post-match, Swerve makes a point that I totally agree with, but like to a much larger extent. After Connecticut and Jacksonville signed like all the top wrestlers on the scene, like where's the new batch? Like there's vets returning to the scene, like Swerve, Davey, Bailey. They're lucky ACH has a hard time working with major companies because it's like there's too many out there who are content being comedy wrestlers and putting each other through doors instead of becoming like the best wrestler alive. Like intergender is fine, but it's like I want more matches like this. And Swerve said, like, I've been gone 3 years, and what do you guys have to show for it? I was like, dang, he's totally right. Like, look back on the independents whenever Uncle Paul started signing everyone to NXT, and it was just like there was always a next group of guys ready to come up. And I know that like the death of the UK and to some extent the Australia scene, like that's hurt, but it's like I'm getting really, really sick of comedy wrestling. And it's like we'll get to GCW in a bit, but like every match is putting people through doors. Anyway, don't want to throw them under the bus. But yeah, like it's so frustrating because it's like veterans coming back to the scene now should be coming up against a top group of young guys. And dude, like we even talked about putting together like a young prospects list. And it's like, I don't know where to start because anyone who's any good has basically been scooped up. Even places like MLW and New Japan Strong, which by the way, New Japan Strong, their eye for talent. Their booking's a little weird and the style of the show is kind of off, but dude, their roster is amazing.
It's much better than New Japan proper right now.
Oh, dude,
It's not even close
to watch New Japan proper. No. Yeah, and imagine like, dude, when the borders finally open up and they have control of that full roster, you're gonna see, oh man, even a guy like Clark Connors. It's like he should be tearing it up on every single independent show.
Absolutely. He's fantastic.
So I'm glad that these guys have, contracts with, like Impact, MLW, New Japan, but it's just like as a whole, like, dude, the indies are stretched so thin. Yeah, after Swerve gave that promo, I was already fired up after the match, but then after his promo, I was like, no, he's right. Like the indies have really let us down over the last couple of years, basically since AEW started. Like it's like where are the indie wrestlers doing what Cardona is doing right now? It's right there. Like I could go on for like 3 hours about this.
And that's the podcast.
Yeah, that's going to be the entire show. But yeah, like Swerve, I want to see people step up and dethrone these vets. Like hopefully we get there. So sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. Anything else you want to cover about this one?
The only thing I want to add before we move on is I don't think it'd be a leap of faith to assume that when this match actually happened in February, Swerve already knew where he was going. He already knew the deal was going to be done with AEW. And like he didn't have to put out this match, right?
I mean, he kind of alluded to it.
Like he had a home there no matter what he did in this match. He could have phoned it in for 10 minutes, done a random match, still gotten over just by being his name. But instead he put on like a half an hour clinic that he just didn't have to do. And I think that speaks pretty highly of him and highly of Nick Wayne that was someone he was willing to do it with. So, and
from the sounds of it, he's sticking around too.
Oh
he
yeah,
basically told Nick Wayne, he's like, listen, I'm not going anywhere, and anytime you challenge me, I'm going to beat you.
Oh yeah, no,
so we're going to see this
match guys.
Again.
Yeah, he's going to be around the independent still. It's nice,
dude. I'm so happy to have him back. I missed him so much. Another dude I missed so much was Biff Busick. Beyond put together him versus Wheeler Yuta in the main event of Monkey Business. Did you get to see any of the card, or did you just skip straight to the main event?
I just skipped straight to it. I might go back and pick and choose a couple things from the card, but there was just so much to go through this weekend. I haven't even looked at it. I went straight to the main event. I couldn't tell you a single other match on it right now.
Knowing your tastes, I think you might like the Jordan Grace match. I caught a little bit of that.
Who is it with?
I can't remember. Shoot, and I don't even have Cage Match.
Yeah.
For that.
Doesn't matter. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. But anyway, again, it's just like after watching indie shows all weekend, I'm just craving like really good wrestling, and it's just like I looked up and down this card, and I'm just like, man, I'm really happy that Defy's putting together a thing on the West Coast and beyond on the East Coast. Like whenever I think of the Northeast, there's not really a ton of promotions who are like thriving. Even someone with like a big name like, you know, House of Glory, like you look at their card over the last weekend and I just wasn't impressed by it. So yeah, hopefully beyond, and they're really good about putting matches out there too. Like I don't know if you saw it. Oh, who was it? It was Daniel Garcia and Alex Shelley that they had. I think it was on like one of their random Thursday shows. Was so good. So for those of you who are not paying attention to Beyond, I highly recommend just kind of keeping an eye on them. In some aspects, they kind of are just another indie, but they do put together matches like this, which was super fun. Great to see Biff back. Yuta is a very technical wrestler, and in this match, he had to go like blow for blow with Biff, and I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Wheeler Yuta in general. I think he's still got some growing edges and some things to figure out, but I enjoy watching him wrestle. He still carries the triumph for me of being literally the only person I guessed correctly on the first season of The Masked Wrestler. So I'm going to ride that Wheeler Yuta train till I die now because I actually guessed right on one of them.
Okay, so I only watched the first episode and I didn't finish any of it. Was Lee Moriarty in The Masked Wrestler?
He won the first season. That's what set up him taking the title off of Warhorse.
So was he in the first episode?
I don't remember. It was.
I was watching that match. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Lee.
If you're pretty sure it was Lee Moriarty, you're probably right because he ran the gauntlet there.
Which, by the way, I might start watching that. It's a really interesting show.
Such a cool idea. I haven't watched the second season yet, but I'm excited.
It's an awesome idea on paper, but then like watching the show itself, it's really weird, and I can't tell if I like it or not. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a shot because, like I said, I tested it for a little bit and I liked what I saw. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to this match.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really miss hard-hitting wrestlers, and Biff brought that. Hometown guy was a big deal in Beyond. In our small corner of the internet, we're telling people it's like, no, Wheeler's not just like a fill-in comedy guy. Like he's really talented. Go. And I think even though he's on TV almost every single week, like I don't think people understand like how good Yuta actually is.
No, I think it's going to be a while before they figure that out. But the other thing this match made me really want is Biff with Daniel Garcia soon.
Oh my God.
I can say that for almost anybody in Daniel Garcia, but
right.
We want to talk about hard hitting wrestling. I want that match.
Like I said, it's so good to have Biff back, like just a hard hitting veteran. There's not too much more to say. Like the post-match setup, Biff versus Dirty Dango, which coming out of his WWE run, I was just like, no, he's the sexy dancing guy. Like that's it. But I like on the independents where everyone just kind of looks like in pretty good shape, he stands out. It's like, whoa, this dude's a guy. And apparently he's been working really hard.
Oh yeah.
Like working the independent scene. So I haven't seen anything from him on the independents, but I'm strangely looking forward to a Dirty Dango match, and I didn't think that I would be here.
Yeah. All right. So moving forward, GCW exists and continues to do shows.
So I was wondering how long we could go. Like how many episodes we could get before we mentioned GCW. And honestly, we didn't have to do it for this show.
No.
There was enough here, but there were some stuff on Astronaut.
Yeah.
That I liked quite a bit. What were the matches that stuck out with you? We didn't talk about this ahead of time.
No, we didn't. This is all on the fly. Stuff that quickly jumped out, Gringo Loco, Ninja Mac, Tony Depp and ACH. I'm scrolling through the card here to remind myself what was all on it. I mean, Gresham and Blake Christian had, it looks like, gosh, I knew it was long. They went for 24 minutes.
Is it good though?
I haven't watched that one yet.
No, I didn't either.
So I'm hoping it's
I'm not
getting
gonna
good
lie.
rates on Cage Match, but
After like the Terminus debacle, I'm so down on Gresham right now. Like,
yeah, it
just
looks like he wrestled Ortiz on Beyond as well, and I'm a little nervous to check it out after.
Oh, I skipped that. I skipped that
so.
one fast. I don't know what it is. It must be like just the disappointment with Terminus, but I'm so down on Gresham right now, just because it feels like most of his matches are exactly the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, how was Gringo Loca? Gringo Loca? Gringo Loco.
Gringo Loca and Ninja Mac was
Ninja Star.
it was fun.
Can you tell I'm tired?
Absolutely. No, it was fun. It was a good match. Depp and ACH. I mean, I like both those guys. Tony Deppen seems to draw some flack, but I think he's a good wrestler.
No, that was one of the matches I highlighted.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole show either. I just watched those couple matches, and then I'll go back and hopefully check out Gresham and Christian. And I mean, it's me, so I'll check out Ali Catch and Jordan Grace as well, and hope it delivers. But I don't know what to expect from it.
Sure. Yeah, no, I was really happy because the matches that I was interested in happened like really close to one another. So like AR Fox, Nick Wayne. Did you catch that one?
No, I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Of course it is. Nick Wayne's in it.
Well, I missed AR Fox.
Oh yeah.
Like he's been largely inactive since like late 2020.
Yeah.
But it's like he looks so good here. Like he's another guy. He's another veteran that like the independents badly needs. So here's to him getting back on track and continuing to impress. They had really good chemistry, and like I said, dude, AR Fox was really impressive. And unless he turns them down, Game Changer would be really stupid not to bring him back. And Nick Wayne again, he just continues to impress. Super fun match. Might have been my favorite match of the two that I watched. So I highly recommend going to do that. And then Tony Deppen defeating ACH. Like Deppen was a little shtick heavy in this match, which it's like I get. He's like a cocky prick. Like that's his whole deal. Holds the tights to get the win. Really good match. I don't really have too much more to say about it besides, I need more ACH.
Yeah, the only other GCW related thing that's caught my mind today, and this is something I'm putting on you too, is I read Atticus Kogard did an interview recently because he is left GCW, and he was really, really professional in the interview, but it was pretty clear there were some things he was pretty unhappy with there, and it was not an amicable parting of ways. So the whole 44 Ohio crew is not really going to be a GCW thing anymore, and he was professional but blunt about what the issues were.
I'm not sure what's going on because obviously, like, I'm not the biggest fan of GCW. I think that they've gotten better. Like, they used to just be like super grimy, and I'm like, unless I'm drunk, I can't watch the show. Their quality has gotten better. They're booking more talent than I'm actually interested in seeing. But it seems like the politics of that place is crazy. Like, I don't know how much you know about the whole Nick Gage threatening to leave and start his own promotion. I can't put my finger on it, but GCW gives me bad vibes. And there are some other indie promotions out there that do that. And fortunately enough for me, they're not big enough, so like I don't have to talk about them. But yeah, there's something about GCW that doesn't feel right, and I have a feeling that this isn't going to be the only time that this happens.
No, definitely not. But it is a neat, quick little interview to look at, and now we've been seeing those 44 Ohio guys popping up on some other shows, like one that we will cover pretty quickly here.
All right. Speaking of 440, let's talk about the West Coast Pro Prestige Wrestling collaboration. First night was Savage Mode that comes to you live from the venue that looks like a Mexican restaurant, but it's not.
See, I got really like Catholic school gym with Bethlehem background vibes from it, but
I like that even more than mine. My wife saw it and was like, where are they? And I'm like, San Francisco. That's all I got for you. I don't know. So yeah, big picture thoughts. What do you think about both promotions, West Coast Pro and Prestige as a whole?
I I think I enjoyed the shows again. This was not I don't think it was possible to be on the same level as that first Prestige show we covered. It would have been
Roseland 2.
Yeah, too high of a bar, but overall I enjoyed it. My real complaint with this one, as much as I love the backdrop of the venue, was the roofs were just, it was too low. There were many spots
With the
throughout
chandelier spots.
yeah, there were too many spots where guys couldn't actually move off the top, and so that was a bit of a bummer. I really like the commentary team they have. I thought that
Mhm.
went really well. Veda Scott's awesome on commentary, so yeah,
Yeah,
I'll keep turning into both promotions. I like both.
I should have written that guy's name down. I think
Hmm.
he's the West Coast Pro guy.
Yep, yep.
Super professional. Kevin Gill should take some freaking notes.
Hmm.
Just really loves what you can tell he loves wrestling. He loves the show, like constantly putting people over. Really good chemistry with anyone he works with. Yeah, I liked him a lot. West Coast Pro's interesting. I still don't have my finger on their like booking style and what their shows look like. These two shows felt more like West Coast Pro shows than Prestige. That's the second show we'll get to in a bit, but that one just felt weird. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in both of these promotions moving forward. So yeah, let's start things off. 440 defeat the conglomerate. I wasn't impressed with this at all. I thought the first match that they did was fine, but this one, I don't feel like it did really anything to build the feud. Especially with 440 getting another dirty win. I guess sets up a third match, and I'm like, it would make more sense for them to split the series and then like do something post match. Booking kind of upset me on this first one. It was just a weird way to start the show, and I'm just done seeing these teams face each other.
Yeah, it was kind of dry. I wasn't expecting a lot out of the Harold and Kumar energy drink crew, but I got what I expected. So
Yeah, I want to see the conglomerate move on and do other stuff.
yeah.
Like I still don't have a good vibe on that trio. Like, so if I were to break them up, I don't know like who the single star would be. I don't know who the tag team would be, but I think they're ready for it. Like as a trio, I don't know if there's much there. But anyway, a wrestler who has a lot going on, Sonico, who defeated MV Young. Prestige is building him up to be a big deal. Um, I really like the guy, and I think he's got a pretty big ceiling. And MV Young is MV Young. Your mileage with him isn't really going to vary. If you're a fan, you're a fan. If you're not, then you're not.
I liked Sonico. Yeah, MV Young he's just kind of a guy that's there for me. I
Right.
take him or leave him. It's not gonna wreck my day seeing a match of his, but I'm also not gonna go hunting it out. But no, I like Sonico, so I was plenty happy with it, especially after the first 10 minutes of the show. Anything was an improvement. So no, it was totally fine.
Yeah, like I said, I think Prestige is building Sonico for something big, but it's kind of hard to tell. Again, they're only like two real shows in and then two
Yeah.
collaboration shows in. And like I said, as far as MV Young, like I think he's much better suited in Pax Americana team.
Yeah.
Then we've got Nicole Savoy defeating Shaza McKenzie, and the floor is yours.
This is a very weird booking decision to me because this was Shaza's first match back on American soil in basically 2 years. For anyone that doesn't know, she's Australian, and getting in and out of Australia over the pandemic has been exceptionally difficult. Not like it's on a whole other level from places like Japan. You even as an Australian citizen, you have to get special permission to leave the country essentially. So she has been off the radar for 2 solid years. And I like Nicole Savoy. She's a good wrestler, but it felt like a really weird decision to have your big comeback after 2 years not being in America, and you're going to eat a pin clean on the first match back. I do not understand that decision at all.
Especially the Savoy, because I don't really know like what they're building her
No,
for at all. She's not even on the second card.
No, she should
it's
be
like
like a gatekeeper vet type role for a lot of these independent shows, if anything. I don't know what the goal is with that. I was very puzzled by this decision. The match itself was fine. I like Shaza. I thought they had a decent match, but I could not wrap my head around why she took a loss there.
It was just weird. Then following this up, we had Vinny Massaro and Robert Martyr. I know nothing about Robert. Martyr going into this weekend, but for him to have, you know, these two bookings back to back, I mean, like, it was a solid, hard hitting match. Honestly, this got me into the show after the first few matches.
Yeah, I was pretty down after Shaza losing. So,
dude, Vinny's over, and it's hard to argue with that. Like, I get it. Yep. My Italian wife was really confused because she's like, if he's the nice guy, why is he flipping everyone off? I'm like,
I mean, it's
independent wrestling. I don't really know what more you want.
That's the thing right now. We're going with the weird Italian gimmick. It's all the rage because of that NXT dude, the Gabagool guy. Like it's going to be everywhere for a while.
I don't know who you're talking about. I really hope his name is something like Roberto Gabagool or something like that.
It's I can get this. He's he actually comes from a sports background. Like he was an Olympic wrestler type guy. So
Shocker.
Yeah, he's one of their projects. So like put him anywhere else in the world and I'd really like to see him wrestle, but Tony D'Angelo, I think, is what they built him as. And they built him as like a weird Italian mafia guy who seems like he's from a Chicago mafia, so I don't really get it, but he walks out and does the stupid forget about it crap, and the stupid smarky NXT crowd goes nuts for it, and they play right into it, like they're mocking him. And of course, Pritchard's sitting there thinking it's the greatest thing they've ever come up with because he's so over, but it's 1993 WWF is what
I was just about to say.
This is a character that Vince and Bruce have had in their pocket for 28 years and can finally bring out.
Dude, whenever people tell me about what they're doing, I'm just like, this is like old school.
No, it's WWF. Exactly what it is. It is 1993 to 1995. That's what they're doing right now. In every way imaginable. Even having guys like Too Cold Scorpio become Flash Funk, like everything they could do, they're doing.
But yeah, getting back to the match, I really liked Robert Martyr. Like he's only 21, so it'll be fun to see him develop. I don't know. It seems like there's something there.
Yeah, this match got me into things for sure.
Then they kept that momentum going with the Prestige Tag Team title match. C4 defeated West Coast Wrecking Crew and Reno Scum. Really fun. I like all three teams. C4 got the win for it further establishes them as the top team in Prestige. And the post-match set up a future match between West Coast Wrecking Crew and Reno Scum that I am really excited for.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed the match. Royce Isaacs and Jerome Nelson are two guys I'm really high on. I was super pumped to see C4 get the win. The only thing that was a little sad to me was, you know, being the combo show and this being more the West Coast crowd, since they were kind of the headline promo. C4 didn't get quite the same response and love they did in Roseland, especially with Reno Scum there. So that was a little sad to see their reaction when they won. Everyone was a little disappointed and I was still pumped for it. So,
and I think it kind of hurt the match too, because like whenever they show up in front of the Prestige crowds, because we've seen the show that was up at what was that, Oregon, and then the show in Los Angeles, and they seemed really over with the crowds, and for whatever reason that just didn't stick here. And I don't know, that kind of took some of the shine off of them.
It was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I still like them, but yeah, it was kind of a weird match because like you said, this was definitely supposed to be like a West Coast pro show with Prestige talent. But no, it was a really good match. I think if you're flying in for this card on IWTV, I would fast forward to Vinny Massaro and Robert Martyr and then just stick around.
Yeah.
Because, dude, this tag team match was a lot of fun. I'm kind of over the multi-person tag matches for Prestige. I don't know if that's just going to be the gimmick moving forward, is it's either 3-way, 4-way tag matches. But anyway, really fun match. West Coast Wrecking Crew is really good, like you said. I think both guys definitely have star potential and will get signed somewhere.
Yeah.
Are they part of New Japan Strong?
I think they've done appearances, but I don't think they're under any sort of contract.
I was going to say their roster stacked anyway, so they probably couldn't sign
we want to talk about some good Ring of Honor candidates. There's a couple names.
Right? I was just thinking that same thing. Imagine them versus the Briscoes. Sign me up. Even Reno Scum. Like, I really like their look. They're really talented. They're a really good team. Yeah, I'm a fan of all three. Speaking of people I'm fans of, Mike Bailey defeated Nick Wayne. This was my match of the weekend. Besides, the
That one
match
wasn't this
from, like,
weekend.
that was last month,
covered
man.
it, yeah.
Come on. Yeah, these two had great chemistry, and I would love for them to have as many matches and as many promotions as they want. We touched on it on our first episode a little bit. I wasn't really upset when Bailey got his 5-year banishment because he just never really clicked with me. Like, I liked him fine, but he was never like, oh, Mike Bailey's on this show, dude. I'm there now. Anytime I see Bailey on the card, I'm hyped. Like, I'm quickly becoming a really big Bailey fan, and he's consistently having the best match on the show. Any card, any place in the country, like, dude, Speedball's that dude.
Yeah, this was easily the match of the show, the match of both shows. Probably my match of the weekend. I think as we go through Warrior 20, I'll trigger my memory if there was anything I liked more, but I'm pretty sure that was my pick for the weekend too.
And then again, keep throwing roses for Nick Wayne. Like, 2022 is going to be his year where, dude, like, I just want him to work like a different wrestler every weekend.
Yeah.
So it's like he did Bailey and AR Fox. That's an insane weekend. So yeah, let's talk about the Prestige Championship match.
Alex Shelley
we had a title change.
We had him defending against Tits Alexander. Here we go.
So to let you guys in on the joke, in one of our run throughs for
episodes.
Basically lost episodes for what, we did like shows and kind of figured out what we wanted to do. I mistyped Alexander's name as Tits Alexander, and now I can't call him literally anything else. It's just Tits Alexander, and good old Tits won the title. Indy Shelley was still really fun. Fell flat on this crowd. This crowd really didn't do a lot of people any favors.
No.
And I don't know. We'll get into it later, but like, I'm just not sold on Alexander. Like, he reminds me of a less charismatic Ethan Page, who's honestly, his charisma is like the only thing he's got going for him. He, like, Tits is just kind of he's just a guy. He doesn't really do anything that grabs my attention. There's nothing wrong with him, and I'm not completely writing him off, but he's just not overly impressive, and definitely not after these two shows.
No, I think so far for me, the most significant thing he has is that I can't stop looking at him and seeing a cross between Isaiah Cassidy and, why can't I remember the second one he reminded me of? But like, he's got Isaiah from like the nose up. He just looks like Isaiah, and that's all I can see. And I'm trying. Oh, Gino Medina. That's who the other one was. Yeah, you put those two together and you get Tits Alexander. That said, I like Medina and Cassidy both a lot better. So
yeah, he's, like I said, like, there might be something there, but it's just like Alex Shelley basically had to carry him to like a 3-star match. And we'll get into the booking of this later, but like, the crowd was shocked because Tits works both Prestige and West Coast Pro, so the crowd was at least familiar with him. Like, he was the villain in the match for sure. He didn't do anything in the other Prestige shows to like make him feel like a big deal. So I don't know. It was the constant theme of weird booking on these shows. But yeah, let's just get to an awesome wrestling match.
Absolutely.
Frankie Kazarian defeated Kevin Blackwood. Super fun match. I really enjoyed it. Not a fan of Kevin's haircut. He still remains, one of my top indie prospects.
Yeah, Kevin's special. I really like him. I am happy anytime I can see Kazarian wrestle. He hadn't been as active on Dynamite and Rampage in the past kind of 5 or 6 months, so I feel like I've been having kind of a Kaz-sized hole in my wrestling heart. So hopefully this will lead, now that things are moving freer on the independents. I think it's clear from a lot of the AEW appearances that they're moving past the COVID restrictions on which indies they can work, and they're back to business on what the model was always supposed to be. And I'm hoping that leads to a lot more Frankie Kazarian on the indies, because I like it, and he's not going to get a lot of 15-minute matches on TV, but we can run him every weekend in promotions like this.
No, yeah, and he actually like looked happy to be back.
Absolutely.
Like it wasn't just a gig. Like
it
seemed like he was like ready to go. But yeah, who knows? Maybe we could get a Kaz on top of Prestige and Daniels on top of Defy, and let the good times roll.
Why not?
Anything on the match itself? I mean,
it's a solid match. Like neither of these guys are the super flashy guys. They do everything well, and they make you buy into it, and that's exactly what they did. I cared about
very precise.
Yeah.
They lay stuff in. It looks brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kazarian was a perfect guy for Blackwood to face. Oh, that's right. Okay, I was missing a match here. It was the West Coast Pro Championship. Another title change.
Yep.
Jacob Fatu defeated AJ Gray. I was shocked by this one. AJ's been going on a warpath on the indies, so Fatu beating him felt like a really big deal. Even though like Fatu's like he's still an MLW guy, right?
Yeah, that's the other part that surprised me. Is he's still like, I wasn't sure how much freedom he got from court to do things like this, but apparently enough to carry the title. So
yeah, and I mean this is a very hard-hitting match that's been building for months. There was some stuff with Fatu and Juicy Finau each challenging AJ, and then there was the tag to set this up. I thought it was a great exclamation point to end the show.
It was fast. Like, they are big guys. That was a fast match. Like they were moving.
And they still fit in like walk-in brawls and like going through the crowd and stuff. Like they got everything in, but yeah, it was very fast moving match. And like I said, it was a great way to end the show, but like, dude, this show had such weird pacing issues. And honestly, I don't get too much more positive on night 2. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Fatu does in West Coast Pro. It seems like they're really behind Speedball. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get Fatu, Speedball.
Yeah, I think that's coming sooner rather than later.
Right. Maybe even Blackwood. There's some stuff there to be excited about for sure. And I don't know if that writes off AJ Gray from the territory or not. I mean, like he's getting bookings everywhere, so he's going to be able to get the work. You ready to get to the next show?
Yeah. So night 2, was it As Real as It Gets?
I didn't really like this show.
This one was, I mean, it might have been, I have to chalk up the idea of fatigue as well. I did watch them pretty much back to back, so that'll factor in, but
yeah, as did I, but it's like, I don't know if it was the crowd. I don't know if it was just watching basically 6 hours back to back. This show really lacked any buzz at all. And I will say, I'm getting pretty upset with Prestige because they had a tremendous showing at Roseland 2, and I still haven't seen any follow-up on Jaden and Sauce God.
I wonder, is Zane back yet? Because he did cut himself open pretty bad very shortly after and had to get some repairs done.
So here's what I'm thinking. I don't know if he's back, and I don't know if I don't even think Jaden has a cage match. So he might be like one of those Nick Wayne minor types who like doesn't travel.
Yeah, so there could be
exclusive to that area, so that would make sense. But still, like, I don't know. Give me a Sauce God promo, like a pre-taped thing that we like sent in. Something. We got to keep that story moving. But anyway, we got to have the conglomerate stop starting shows because they defeated, who is it? Jody himself, Lazarus, and Adriel Noctis, just a group of jobbers. And due to them losing the night before in a weird match against 440, I couldn't care less about them here. And I don't know if I chalk that up to, I guess I chalk that up to the booking more than I do the wrestlers. But yeah, dude, they did them no favors. Like, this was just a dud to start the show.
I almost fell asleep during this one.
And that's how the show started. like it just started with this malaise that just carried on for the rest of the show. Then we move into Shazza McKenzie and Sandra Monroe, and I liked the match fine, but honestly, as I'm doing the show notes, I couldn't remember anything from the match.
I'm glad Shazza won this time.
Could you imagine if they brought her in and made her lose both times?
Yeah, so I'm still like, why not just have her win both? I don't get it. And like she's a good wrestler. I really like her. She
set up for a match with Taya.
Yeah.
Have her win 2 shows this weekend. Credible threat to whatever Taya is going to be doing in Prestige.
So disappointing welcome back for Shazza, but hopefully she can stay in America for a while and I can see her in a lot of places.
I wouldn't be surprised if she works, one of the darks or something like that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That seems like a lot.
The fact that she hasn't already makes me think she's here for a while, because they had Session Martina was down for like a week to hang out and do a couple shows, and she got on them pretty quick.
Oh, and like Dallas weekend is like 2 weeks away, so yeah she'll get plenty of bookings if she's sticking around.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone who's going to be getting plenty of bookings that weekend, Vinny Massaro. Back, and he defeated Juicy Finau. Vinny's still the man, and I'll say this about Juicy: he lost steam in this match fast, which is exactly what I expect from someone coming out of Bad Luck Fale's dojo. He taught Juicy everything he knows.
Yeah, he sure did, and that's not a compliment.
Nope.
Bad Luck Fale, if you ever hear this, I really don't like you. You kind of suck. And I don't say that about many people.
Just for clarification, that's Mitch talking. I in no way want to get on Bad Luck Fale's bad side.
You know what? I watched Jack Stack Saber Jr. whoop his ass. I like my chances.
I think he might be able to in a shoot. But anyway, it was a fine match that had a botched ending, and that really ruined the entire match for me. But it saved it because I loved Vinny just like shrugging it off and being like, that's whatever, and left. Like there's so many times you see like a botched finish and wrestlers just get like pissy and like throw fits. And Vinny's like, I got the win. See ya.
Cue the Vampiro moment. Where's my fucking music?
Yeah, so like I don't know. I'm a big fan of Vinny Massaro. It's just that dude's entire vibe is so cool, and it's like I definitely feels like he's better suited in something like a Game Changer. But I love him on the independents. Like he feels like the Sandman, where it's just like any promotion he's in, he just comes out and he's just having a good time. He's gonna do his thing and he's gonna leave. But yeah, this was definitely a shot in the arm. I like the theme of these shows is that you can just skip the first 3 matches and not really miss very much.
I know, which is really disappointing knowing who's in the third match here.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, big fan of Vinny. Juicy, not so much. He's probably just going to be staying on the West Coast doing shows like this. But yeah, next match, our boy Robert Martyr's back. And this time he loses to Alan Angels.
You lost to the jobber who kicked out of the V-Trigger, so what do you got? But no, I mean,
who kicks out of a V-Trigger?
I liked Martyr the night before. I really like Alan Angels. It was just kind of there.
I think this should have kicked off the show because these two guys just went out there and showcased themselves. Angels is a guy that looks tiny in the Jacksonville Fed, but like he looks physically impressive against like the still developing Robert Martyr.
Oh yeah, no, he's just not huge. He's just short. Like he's got a fine build.
But like Alan Angels is like the perfect indie wrestler.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I want to see him do much more, many more indie appearances. My guy, it's really late. I want to see Alan Angels do more independent appearances. There we go. Yeah, and like I said, as far as Martyr goes, he's on my radar after these two.
Yeah.
I really hope that both guys continue to pop up more across the country. I feel like Martyr is a lock for GCW.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like he seems like their guy through and through. This brings us to West Coast Wrecking Crew defeating PP Ray. Avalon and Rosa should have gotten squashed by the dominant looking West Coast Wrecking Crew, but I am totally fine with the match that we got. The chemistry was good. PP Ray shtick didn't really get old, and it's not going to be for everyone. And most of the time, I'm not into like comedy wrestling, but dude, this brought some much needed fun to the show. Like that locker room needs to take notes. Like sometimes it's just okay to be fun and just get the crowd back on track.
And that's a showcase of how like we know Pretty Peter Avalon's never winning a major championship. But man, is he good at what he does, and he's so underrated as that guy. He's unbelievable. Like such a professional.
Yeah, and I was just really happy to see Nelson and Isaacs get a straightforward tag match and not be relegated to just multi-person spot matches. But we're both big fans of those guys, like we've said. And I think there's real money in them facing C4 in the 2v2.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's what they're building.
I assume that's where it's heading. I don't really know their booking for either company yet, but that sure seemed like the build.
I would hope so. Yeah, next match was Kevin Blackwood defeating Sonico. Again, I'm a fan of both guys. I guess this is probably my favorite match of the show. If not, it's probably Wrecking Crew and PP Ray, just because that was just fun.
Yeah. I feel weird giving a comedy match my top spot, but it's definitely my top spot. I like comedy.
This card didn't really give us a choice.
No, and I like comedy when it's done well. Like I do. So
right.
Yeah, good match.
But yeah, Blackwood, Sonico, like I said, we like both guys. They worked really well together. Bald Kevin Blackwood looks like a creator wrestler that you would make in a video game. So I can't really unsee that. Like you wasted like all the deco on him.
So should we pair him up with Angels and Kip Sabian then?
Yes, and absolutely.
Just call them like Caw.
And Tits Alexander.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who is the ultimate?
Oh, he is. I mean, I literally took creator wrestler mode, took half of Isaiah, half of Gino, just like hit the merge button on the screen and out pop Tits. So
like I said, I like the match.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that Blackwood got the win.
Me too, but I'm not. I don't think I would have been disappointed regardless of who got the win in this one. Either way, honestly, I'd be happy. So
the vibe that I got from it was that it didn't matter who won.
Yeah.
I really thought that they were building to Sonico main eventing against Shelly down the road, which I guess they can still do.
Things move pretty fast in that prestige title picture. That could happen sooner rather than later.
Yep.
Because you definitely just dropped a spoiler bomb already too.
Well, I mean,
as of this moment in the show, Alex Shelley is not the prestige champion. It's Tits Alexander.
Tits Alexander is not going to be selling you tickets. He's not at the point. Okay, so the comp that I have for him being like Ethan Page comes from whenever Ego was like pretty early in his American run, and he was the AAW champion, and he would like just literally be showing his ass and was just like full of himself and super cocky. That's the guy I'm comparing him to if anyone is paying attention or cares. But yeah, he's not going to be a big deal. Not anytime soon. But a couple guys who are big deals right now, C4 defended those prestige tag team championships again. But on this show, it was against Pax Americana. It was good. It was pretty much exactly what I expected. I'm glad that C4 got the win. I'm interested in them running the division for now. And I mean, it seems like there's a rematch between the two down the road. Like that's definitely a possibility. And again, I'm not going to complain about two different 2-versus-2 tag matches on this show instead of another 4-way tag where no one really gets over.
Yeah, I was good match. I'm happy to see Dark Sheik wrestle this card. Didn't wrestle the night before, hopped on for commentary for a couple matches to set up this one, but I like watching her wrestle. So
there, yeah, I'm glad you got it. I think a lot of people were also interested in seeing Charlie Haas wrestle. And in the next match, he went full heel against Rocky Romero. And I don't know if it was the crowd. I don't know what it was. It just felt really awkward. Ultimately, I think it's a good direction for him. But I didn't feel anything.
So this was This was weird. I felt like, I mean, Rocky's a super safe worker, he's consummate pro. He's not hurting anybody anytime soon. But after Charlie got hurt in his like first match in Impact back on his big comeback match and like in an injury that definitely could have been a game ender again. He's now in that bump card category where I don't know how I can watch him without like crossing my fingers every single time he hits the mat. So I couldn't even really focus on the match for the most part.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting a payday. But yeah, I had the same exact thing where I was just like, Rocky could have a decent match with literally anyone in front of, any crowd.
Anybody but Fale, yeah.
Dude's just a super pro. Well, Fale's like 1-star territory. Like he just pulls people into his orbit and they stay there.
Credit to ZSJ for being the only one who's ever made me enjoy his match, and it was a fucking count out victory.
I don't know. I think there was definitely an Okada match that I remember liking, and then there was a Nakamura match that I remember liking. But I think that speaks more highly to those two than Fale.
I mean, that's probably 3 more matches than I've ever heard you praise Evil for. So,
oh boy, it's a good thing we don't do a New Japan podcast because your boy would not have too many nice things to say about much of what's going on right now. I mean, Evil had to have had a good match against somebody at some point, right?
There was one that I liked. I forget who it was with. There was one that I enjoyed during that whole disaster run.
I'll put money down that it's not Sonata.
I can promise you it was not Sonata. Yeah.
I don't know why we're just burying random Japanese wrestlers.
It's just Rocky Romero's on the card. It came up. It was on topic. See, we're fine.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, going back to Charlie Haas, like I'm glad he got a booking.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what his career is right now, but it's like again, like I don't know if there's too much meat on the bone of him being a wrestler, but honestly, I could see him being a GCW guy. He's got some name value. There's the irony of having him there. You don't have to bump him a ton in death matches. You just have to do gnarly spots. And that just might be where Charlie Haas is. He can do like some fake Kurt Angle tough guy stuff there.
Yeah. Going through a door is not that painful.
I mean, I literally remember nothing from the match.
It was pretty...
Such a weird show, dude.
And speaking of weird,
Tits Alexander loses the title back to Alex Shelley in a 3-way match that also included Ray Horace. One of these things is not like the other, and it's Tits Alexander. I have no idea why they did the title change on both shows. Like, imagine if this show ended with just Alex Shelley versus Ray Horace. And that match would have been like the match of the show. Yeah. Possibly a match of the weekend.
Beats Tits the night before, beats Ray tonight. That's pretty straightforward champion booking.
Dude, it's just the more I see of him, the more I think he's just getting exposed. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be really glad whenever we move on and don't talk about him for the rest of the show. But it's like this was a waste. Like Alex Shelley did Alex Shelley stuff. Ray Horace was in there and he worked his butt off. It was just a weird 3-way match that ended the show. Shelley won, and it was just like, okay, so nothing matters.
Yeah. We're playing Whose Line Is It Anyway? This is a 24/7 title. Let's go.
Dude, I don't have the run times in front of me, but it's way too much time for Shelley and Alexander to be in the ring together, and then throwing in Horace for a little bit of it. Like, I think our expectations for the collaboration between these two was super high. And so this second show just falling flat, I think that really hurt. And then Prestige ran another show the day after this, and we still haven't seen it. It hasn't been uploaded.
I have not seen spoilers yet. I don't know how many title changes are going to happen on that one. But
I don't even know who's challenging, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think I'm still excited for that show.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it. They've built up some really good credit with Roseland too, that they can get away with a lot more yet. Still, not a lot more, but they can get away with more.
I think it's possible that we started off really, really high on Prestige. I think it might just be a promotion where Roseland is like their big show, and that just might be the show worth watching from them.
Yeah.
Which is sad because our expectations for them were super high, and honestly, I hope they get back to that. pretty soon. Sorry for the jingle jangling. Our new cat is like all up in her business. And she's going to jump and say hi. But yeah, let's move on to a show that I definitely liked more than this. Let's talk about Warrior 20. Still on the road, coming to you live from Indianapolis. Starting the show off with Brian Pillman Jr. defeating Silas Young.
Yep, this was kind of a homecoming party for BPJ. He's obviously a pretty big deal for Warrior Wrestling historically through their relative history, and for him the significance is he moved back to Cincinnati from Jacksonville. He made the decision that he was living a little too toxically on his own in Jacksonville, and based on a lot of his social media stuff, I think he made a good decision and probably better off for it. So he's back home. Had a match with the last real man in pro wrestling, who and probably someone who's going to stick around with future ROH. I think this match went about 3 minutes longer than I would have wanted it to, but other than that, I don't really have a complaint with it. The right guy won. It crowd's behind Pillman pretty good. So
yeah, I want to challenge to whoever's listening to this to take a minute and imagine what Brian Pillman Jr. versus Silas Young looks like. That was the match. Silas is a pro. He hasn't really added anything to his repertoire in a while. I'm not really a big fan of Brian's at 28. This is likely who he's going to be. He's not bad, but he's just like he's just a guy.
He's an undercard guy right now.
Right. Nothing wrong with that. Like I mentioned earlier, I name dropped Silas earlier whenever I was thinking about veterans that should be on ROH. Really good hand is such a damning compliment. Like I really want to get away from that, especially after Cody like kind of ruined that for me. But like I really like Silas. He's one of those guys I saw a lot in AAW up in Chicago, and I never really got burnt out on him. It's just he is who he is. But yeah, it was fine. Do you have any overall thoughts on Jake Chris defeating Storm Grayson?
I don't like either of the Chris. This match did nothing for me. I didn't expect to like it.
Imagine watching AAW shows where it's just the Chris and Sami Callihan doing their thing.
And that's why I didn't watch those shows. I don't like any of those three. So this match was very much my washroom break, my food break. Like I tuned in, but Storm Grayson could have been Will Ospreay, and I wouldn't have liked this match. So
well, I was gonna ask. So I was like, so you're down on Chris? I mean, besides a killer first name, like Chris is pretty replacement level. Like I think it's possible. I've just seen too much of the Christ brothers, but like you said, I immediately tuned out. I liked Storm Grayson. He's a dude in the Chicago scene that I want to see more of. Probably would have been more productive to give him the win to set him up as a big deal. Chris just doesn't really have anywhere to go in this Fed, so him getting the win was just kind of there.
Yeah, if it means he's getting more spots in this Fed, I'm going to be a sad human about it. So
he's definitely coming back, but it's like, who does he face? Like him versus Adonis is weird. Him versus Ospreay isn't going to sell any tickets.
I have a hunch who he could face, and I don't know that I'm happy about it.
We'll get there in a bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
So, yeah, I'll let you name drop. So let's move on. Warrior Wrestling Lucha title. The aforementioned Sam Adonis defeated Psycho Clown. I am just not a Sam Adonis guy. Like, he's fine, but he's not someone that I'd be building. Meanwhile, Psycho Clown's the shit, dude. Like, he's such a fun wrestler. The kids in the crowd were into it. Like, the adults were like, yeah, this guy's really cool. He is a really awesome guy. Again, it's just like, I look at the booking on this weekend shows, and I'm like, the wrong person won. Like, wrestling's not hard. Like,
this one I understand. I'm going to challenge you on this one.
But how much more fun would it be to have a division in Warrior built around Psycho Clown?
Well, I think the division is being built around Psycho Clown. The commentary for that entire 15 minutes spent the whole time putting over Psycho Clown, talking about all his AAA main events at Triple Mania, like beating Wagner, winning that giant clusterfuck match. Like they went nuts putting over Psycho Clown. Spent the whole damn match talking about, and I'm so sick of this spot, ripping the Lucha's mask off. Like, I am done with this storyline of pulling off the Lucha's mask. Like, no defending that angle. I think it's stupid. I think it's overdone. But the entire point was they set up the whole thing to say like Psycho Clown had no choice. He had to protect himself. So obviously Psycho's going to beat Adonis in the rematch for it. That's what they've been building towards.
I don't know if we're getting the rematch. I don't know if we're going to get it. Psycho Clown's, he's his own dude. Like, he predominantly stays down in Mexico. He'll work some really random lucha shows. I don't know. He seems like a bit of a wild card, so I get why Adonis beating him happened. I hope you're right. I hope we get a rematch and Psycho Clown just dominates him. And like you said, I'm really sick of taking the luchador mask spot off, or taking the luchador's mask off spot. Got it in two. I would really love it for someone just to like get their mask pulled off and they're like, so what? I'm still gonna beat you, and then just like continue the match. Like, I don't know, or even do a mask under the mask with such a ridiculous character like Psycho Clown. Just go for it.
Actually, I forget who. I think that's been done.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm sure.
I definitely wouldn't doubt it. I've probably even seen it too.
Yeah, Psycho Clown's amazing. I enjoyed that. I liked the match except for the finish. It took the wind right out of my. I'm fine with Adonis winning if it sets up a rematch. I just hate the way that the match ended. I'm so sick of that spot.
And to bring it up, his last match was against Lince Dorado, where our hopes were incredibly high, and that match ended in a countout. This is some weird booking for Sam Adonis. Like, he's already a pretty like easy guy to boo, so like doing all of this man, I don't know. I give Warrior the benefit of the doubt, I think, too much of the time with their booking, but it's just like there's some stuff on this card that I just didn't really care for. The next match, though, let's talk about it. Mike Bailey defeated KC Navarro. I still don't get the Navarro Brian Cage story, or just the overall story they're telling with Navarro, unless like Navarro drops that medal to someone. Like, it would take balls to have KC actually challenge Will or even win the title. But apparently Brian Cage gave him a detailed scouting report for Speedball that was essentially, he kicks a lot. Like,
all right, so
that promo, I was like,
that's okay, a shoot.
Okay. Yeah, right. I'm like, no, that sounds right, but like
that sounds like the Brian Cage level of depth.
Cool,
too.
Thanks, Brian. Bailey was great. The two had a really good match. Like I kind of talked about earlier, dude, Bailey's just so good. Like, I think he has to be the front runner for Indie Wrestler of the Year so far. The only other people I can think of are like ACH and Davey, as far as just like consistent. I mean, even Nick Wayne.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's bring him up one more time. I started off the year just kind of like whatever on Speedball, and he's quickly becoming like one of the go-to guys here. So any thoughts on the actual match?
I continue to be excited about Navarro's future. This match, again, another excellent showing for him. So yeah, Mike Bailey continues to impress. There's not much I can add to it, but
I really like KC. He's doing a weird tweener character. And like I said, I kind of want to see the payoff for the story sooner rather than later, just because, I don't know, it seems weird that this is like one of the only ongoing stories that Warrior's doing, and it's built around KC Navarro and Brian Cage. Very odd pairing. I'm guessing a match between the two. I don't know. I thought I understood Warrior's booking.
If that's the case, it's probably Cage taking the medallion from Navarro and then going back over Ospreay to take the Warrior Championship back after their match at 18.
Yeah, but I really like this match, though. I would say this is probably the match on the show to check out. I mean, the rest of the show was pretty good.
Yeah. So,
yeah, again, I'm looking at these cards and I'm just like, you can really skip the first three matches on this show, too.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing wrong with Adonis and Clown. Psycho Clown's awesome, but you're not losing out if you don't see it.
That's not a good trend. Anyway, Killer Cross defeated Jake something. It's not just because of his first name, I swear, but I'm a big Jake something guy. He recently asked for and was given his release from Impact. So I'm hoping that he's got some big stuff cooking. Killer Cross is an entirely new man now that he grew his hair out. He went from just being like a bald, great wrestler looking dude, and now he looks like, just a badass. He was super generic, and pun intended, he's a killer now. So really good match. These guys just beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah, my big fear was that Jake Chris beating Storm Grayson was going to lead to Jake against Killer Cross, which I have zero interest in seeing.
I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, that said, this match I think was a really good, I'm going to call it a rehabilitation match for Cross, because his NXT run was bad, and I don't even want to acknowledge, I mean, regardless of what you think of the guy or what Connecticut does, that was a new level of cruelty with his main roster shtick.
But that NXT entrance was so cool.
Like, how do you not just transport that to WrestleMania? He literally let, like, it was, you just pick it up, you move it over, and you place it down again.
But they took this guy who was like, he has a really good look, and he's a decent wrestler, and then they just overproduce him with a giant entrance, and he literally becomes the TikTok man with a weird entrance, and then they call him up to the main roster,
and he becomes TikTok man with a mask.
And they put him in this like weird, like he's
like,
going to the dominatrix suit. Like
it was Halo Sparta. Like,
oh my gosh. It looked like a weird sex thing. I'm like, dude, what are they doing to this guy?
I mean, like, maybe he pulled it out of the closet with Scarlett. I don't know. Maybe he just had it lying around the house.
He just showed up to work like that.
Sorry, guys, I'm running a little behind.
Look.
That's good shit, pal. Get out there. But yeah, this was a great rehab match for him. I feel bad seeing Jake something eat a loss, because especially right after his getting his release from Impact, because I want to see what he does next, and I think he's got such a huge future. But
but what is he going to do in Warrior though?
Oh, like, yeah,
Warrior, they're really only pushing maybe 3 or 4 people at a time. I think Jake is one of those guys where it's just like, I don't know if he's going to one of the major promotions. I don't know if he's just focusing on being an indie guy, but there needs to be more big guys out there who fits that bill.
Once again, rumor has it there's a new place going to be looking to sign some people, owned by the owner of another place.
That wouldn't be bad. Before we recorded, I was just scrolling through Twitter and I saw that Killer Cross challenged Minoru Suzuki for the Dallas show. So we'll be covering that here.
All right.
Right?
Murder Grandpa.
Yep, Murder Grandpa versus Killer Cross. Let's go.
That sounds like an awesome Bloodsport match.
Right?
Like that.
Killer Cross is on Bloodsport, isn't he?
Oh, he'll if he's not already booked on it, he'll definitely be booked on it. He did it before.
Let's get John Morrison and not get Killer Cross.
Killer Cross did it before he left into temporary retirement. So
yeah, I don't know if this means that he's going to be working with New Japan Strong, but dude, like, imagine Cross in Japan. Like that, he's one of those guys. I could definitely see him doing like a Suzuki Goon type deal. Yeah, he's
hopefully he didn't sign anything for real with Court and MLW, and it's just like a one taping thing.
Oh, he showed up there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're still doing the Lucha Underground thing too, aren't they?
100%.
Oh, his creepy entrance would fit in with that. I'm guessing he shows up with Scarlett and lip syncs the entrance and everything.
I assume so. I haven't seen it. But...
Warrior Wrestling Women's Championship. Thunder Rosa defeated Athena and Sky Blue. It was supposed to be Rosa and Athena versus Sky Blue and AQA. It's a bummer AQA didn't make it to the show, but really happy we got this match instead of like the super tired, like, can they coexist? Fun 3-way match, and pretty soon Rosa is going to be returning to the territory wearing 2 titles.
Yeah, I think the only grain of salt to take with this match is you need to understand the circumstances around it, where it was supposed to be a tag match and they had to suddenly plan a 3-way on like an hour's notice. So there are a couple spots in the match where the timing's maybe a little bit off in terms of figuring out who was going to be where, but like,
it was a little awkward, but it worked.
Yeah, it's an understandable thing given how they had to plan it, and they made it work. Like it never really took me out of it. Just watching with a close eye, it was like, yeah, okay, there's a few spots here where I can tell you had, like, this wasn't the match you were originally going to do, and we had to figure it out. But yeah, Athena still looks great. I'm super happy. This was, she did the 20-minute draw or whatever it was. I think it was 20 minutes with Rosa at the last show. So, that's
that
like
was the main event draw.
Yeah, so they've done close to 40 minutes together now. That's enough time to me that I'm confident that her Achilles healed properly and she can really do her stuff again. She had a couple really cool spots in this match. She did that kind of like corkscrew slingshot over the top and everything. So she seems healthy. Sky Blue's got such a bright future. I'm glad we got this match. It was a happy accident.
I was actually kind of interested to see if they would switch the title here. Because I think a title change to either woman would have made a lot of sense.
And they have it set up so Rosa doesn't even have to eat the pin to do it.
Exactly. That's something Christopher Daniels doesn't really let in his book. So, yeah, Thunder Rosa's awesome. I feel pretty confident calling her the best women's wrestler in the world. I can't really think of too many people I would put above her. But then again, I'm not like super into the scene, so like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna start name dropping the few Joshis that definitely go above, but if we're talking the American ones, there's a couple for sure, but the one American that comes to mind would be Serena Deeb.
Oh sure.
Yeah, I think Serena is still a fair bit better than Rosa, but.
And I think there's still meat on the bone for Warrior to continue to book Thunder Rosa versus Athena.
Oh yeah,
Thunder Rosa versus Sky Blue. But honestly, like, I think this match kind of scratched that itch for Rosa versus Athena for me.
And there's other women available right now. They can bring Taya in. Right. Toni Storm's a free agent now. She's available. You've got formerly Tegan Knox, Nixon Newell's available. Like there's a lot of veteran women you can bring in right now. There's a couple of Joshis from Tokyo coming in for those prestige shows who are around. There's a lot of options right now.
And honestly, I don't think Thunder Rosa's dropping this anytime soon.
No, I don't think she drops it until after she's dropped her other one, the big one.
Yeah, that she hasn't even won yet.
Yeah, the one that she doesn't even have yet.
I think that her doing Warrior is really good for her because she's getting free press for her own promotion. Which I'm really interested to see that show because is it their first show that's running in Texas, or have they already ran?
No, I'm sure they've already ran in Texas.
Okay, but yeah, I think the last time we talked Warrior, the two of us, I was convinced that they were building Sky Blue to beat her, and then Athena showed up, and I'm like, well, Athena's going to be the one to beat her, and now I'm just like, I think she's going to hold this for a very long time, unless there's like a woman match that's just.
Yeah, they're straight up based out of Texas.
Okay. Oh, so like the Dallas show is not going to be like their first one?
No, not at all. No, yeah, they're based right out of Texas.
Sweet. I'll have you. I'm going to give you homework. You're going to have to report back to me on that.
Oh yeah, I have not caught every single Mission Pro show, only because unfortunately they stream on Title Match Network, and for whatever reason, Title Match Network is really glitchy with streaming quality, and sometimes it freezes up, 3 or 4 times. I just get too frustrated with it and never go back. So there's a few Mission Pro shows I haven't seen just because I got too annoyed with the streaming service, but I've enjoyed what I have seen. I mean, it's me and women's wrestling, so it's an easy sell, but let's be real.
Well, were you sold on Lance Archer defeating Mike Bennett?
I love Lance Archer so much. I love the Murder Hawk. Mike Bennett was a replacement too. I forget who it was supposed to be, but
Jonah Rock.
Oh yes, right. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Jonah, why he didn't make it in, but
I'm guessing travel issues.
Yeah, I actually don't know why AQA didn't make it in either, for that matter. But for whatever reason, Jonah wasn't there, so Mike Bennett filled the hole.
Honestly, I think we would have gotten the exact same match with Jonah that we got with Bennett. I use that term a lot, like the replacement level. Like it's a thing in like most sports where it's just like that's just the average person. Like that's kind of the bar. Are they above or below that? Bennett is basically that bar.
Yeah.
Like he's non-offensive, but he's also not going to go out there and put on a 5-star show. Like he is just the replacement guy. And I really liked him here.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of those things where it's exactly what you think it will be. Just two guys going back and forth and swinging at each other.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm probably a bigger Mike Bennett fan than most. I do enjoy him and Maria for that matter, which is a controversial take for a lot of people, but I enjoy watching
I'll let you
him.
have it.
I like him.
You're into it. You're into it. No, it's just I've never seen Bennett in anything where I was like, whoa, this guy.
Oh yeah, neither have I for that matter. But I do enjoy watching him. I've also rarely seen situations where I'm like, ooh, that guy. So
Right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
he's
Yeah,
very
and
steady.
given the way someone like compared to someone like a Jake Christ or something like that, I'm pretty damn happy with the Mike Bennett. So
And then we got a very bizarre main event.
yes,
Lil Rascals
great name.
with a Z
Small shout out for that name. Perfect.
defeated Arez and Dante Leon and Top Flight. It was fun, I guess, but it's like I would not have booked Arez and Leon for this match, maybe at all.
Yeah.
Decent, like it was, like I said, it was fun, but like it was 8.5 minutes long.
I was so confused.
It was like, so that main event in All In.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Super fast. There's too many people, and it's just like, all right, go, 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 go. That's was what this was. Like much less quality.
Yeah, that's exactly what this match was.
The spots were fine. It's just like, and this honestly, in one of our last shows, we buried Arez in the earth. Like we dug him 2 graves. He was buried 12 feet under. And this is the perfect match for him. He can just do 3 things in and out, get that envelope, and head home.
Yeah, I don't know what the story is behind why this match went down the way it did, but it's a weird loss for Top Flight. It's a weird length of a match for a main event. Yeah. Little Rascals versus Top Flight on their own for 20 minutes would have been the match of the weekend potentially. Event. Like that could have topped Bailey and why am I blanking already? He had so many matches this weekend. I can't remember which one his best one was, but
on this show? Or you mean like
no, his through the whole weekend. We've already covered him like 3 or 4 times this weekend.
The Nick Wayne match.
Yes.
They're like the only 2 people that we keep bringing up.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's the thing. But like we brought them up over and over.
These late shows are rough, bro.
But like this match could have been better than that if it was just those 2 teams for 20 minutes. So I don't understand.
Dante Leon is an undercard guy. Arez is almost an undercard guy. This is the perfect indie promotion for Top Flight. I mean, we in the little internet corner that we're in, I've been wanting Top Flight and Warrior for the longest time. I'm a big Dante guy. The take is getting out there that Darius is better, and I would like some credit from people for me just saying that. Like when he got hurt, I was like, no. But I'm so glad that they're teaming back to each other. Dude, their gear didn't even match. Like this felt like so last minute. I really do hope that we get, Miguel and Reed versus, the Martins really soon. Speaking of Trey, I'm a big Trey Miguel guy, so him challenging Will in a rematch for the title to end the show really excited me. Their last match was really good, and I definitely got the feeling that they left some on the table for a rematch. I'm really hyped for what that's going to look like. Hopefully that's the one that's coming to my backyard.
Yeah, I again, without following New Japan super closely right now, I think I was reading that within the next month or 2, it sounds like Ospreay and Cobb and Okan and all those guys are coming over to America for a New Japan Strong stint and all of that stuff. So it should be coming soon. Sweet. You think the Cold Empire is making the journey?
The weird thing about Warrior right now is they're not building anyone to beat Ospreay. It's going to be like a very random, and honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's probably going to be Brian Cage.
Yeah, he is. He's a Warrior guy. They love Brian Cage. He is the face
of Warrior. Yeah, really interesting that he hasn't been on shows consistently.
Well, he hasn't been on shows consistently. There are rumors floating about that his contract got the 1-year option picked up by TK, although we still haven't.
That was confirmed.
Yeah, and we still he hasn't been back there yet. Like I don't really understand what is going on there, but there's something more to all of this.
He's a weird guy.
We know. Oh, he's a very weird guy. I've been talking about Brian Pillman's weird social media interactions with his, I don't know if they're still together, his raver girlfriend. Brian Cage has some similarly interesting things going on his social media with that.
Well, we're kind of giving Khan too much shine, but the thing that I've kind of noticed, besides him being like a really petty employer, is that he also doesn't want to employ people who don't want to be there. So I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for that last conversation between him and Cage. If it was him and Cage, I'm sure there was probably a middleman. But yeah, I have no idea what Cage is doing. But as the guy who's like the face of Warrior, it's weird whenever he's not there.
I don't think he had another booking or anything.
No, I don't think so. Warrior really goes to bat for him too. I'm not saying like he's bad, but it's just like they're consistently behind him. This was just a weird show. There was stuff in there that I really enjoyed, but it's definitely not the best output from Warrior. And it felt like 20 was going to be a big deal. Like, it's like, this is a milestone.
Yeah.
We only run once a month. So it's like, we're putting together something special. The show was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think it was a solid weekend of shows. I would definitely recommend anything with Speedball, Nick Wayne, and then the ACH Tony Deppen match. And you have stop what you're like. Well, you can finish the podcast. We're almost done. But after you finish, go watch Swerve versus Nick Wayne. You guys will love it. It's like I said, top contender for me right now. I haven't done like match listings in like a month. So I'm gonna have to catch up on that, but it's definitely towards the top. As far as what we're watching this week, anything you're looking forward to?
We pull up Mr. Cage match here and see what's coming up in the next week. This last week was such a blur with everything that went on otherwise, planning a funeral and all that. So I'm still figuring out what the heck's coming up. Let's take a look here. Let's see.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I found out that my local theater is getting a new A24 movie. So I'm going to go check that out this weekend.
Sweet.
Excited. Catch up on some HBO shows. Still haven't finished Righteous Gemstones.
Okay, upcoming shows. Here we go.
Among the Living from Prestige. They still haven't uploaded that one.
Yeah, that'll get uploaded. Okay, there's a freelance card here. Is there anything on there that jumps out?
Oh, speaking of freelance, there's one part that I missed in Warrior 20. Can we stop booking the clown guy? He's the whole reason I don't watch freelance.
Frank the Clown.
Frank the Clown.
Well, then you're probably not going to want to watch this one next weekend because I see his name on there twice.
Dude.
Let's see. AEW's got an anniversary show, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, Epic. The 18th anniversary.
Yeah. Oh, ACH is on there in a tag match.
Yep. So AAW used to be like the Chicago Super Indie before Warrior kind of took their spot.
Yeah.
But AAW still does some really cool stuff. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Matt Fitchett.
Not really, no.
Okay, so him and Davey Vega roll together as like the besties. They're mostly like Ohio to Illinois, Midwest guys. Davey is kind of like whatever, but I've been high on Matt Fitchett for years. He's a young guy out of Boston. I'm not quite sure where he's located at now. He's the AAW champion. Early on in his career, he gave me real Kyle O'Reilly vibes. A lot of kicking, very technical.
Yeah.
And now that he's on top, I think he's going to start getting some notoriety. So there you go. You'll quickly get used to Matt Fitchett, and I am honestly excited to hear your take on if Fitchett's good or not, or if I'm just like.
Well, that may be a show to check out. I'm looking at the upcoming week, and there's not a lot going on.
Yeah, it's that Prestige match if it comes out. AAW's got Epic, and then Glory Pro out of St. Louis has Good Times, Bad Times.
When is that one? I'm not even seeing that one on the.
Honestly, I don't even know where it airs. I don't even.
Oh, here we go. March 20th. There it is. Okay.
Are they on IWTV? If not, that one might be hard to find.
Yeah. I hope we can find it. I mean, there's a fun match there off the start.
There's some stuff there.
That's
like basically my local promotion.
Yeah, they've got Matt Fitchett in a trios match with Arik Cannon and Davey Vega against, and you might hate this, but I'm going to be juiced against Boom Boom Colt Cabana, Dan the Dad, and the ruler Fastest Warhorse. So you're getting a comedy match, and I'm going to love every second of it.
I like Colt. Davey, Dan, and Warhorse is kind of, but hey, they're all in one match. That's fine.
But there's Alley Catch and Laney Luck on that card. That could be a good match.
Like I said, there's some stuff there.
So
I'm really busy this weekend, so I'm probably not going to be able to go see it live.
Yeah.
They're actually running like a really cool concert venue called the Pageant coming up pretty soon, and they've got Minoru Suzuki on that card.
Ooh, okay.
Better bet I'm going to be Kaze Ninare whenever he comes to town.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we'll probably find something. Worst case, that might be a good time to jump in on PWG. Maybe even do like some stuff that we've missed since before this podcast started. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to figure that out off air.
Yeah, I am seeing Glory Pro on IWTV, so that's easy enough for us to.
Oh
to
yeah.
match. There's only 4 matches announced, but given what else is out there, that seems like a good.
I had a feeling that they were, because there was. Anyway, that's a story I'll say for next week. So yeah, we'll figure out what we're going to do for next week. Even if it's a light show, it'll just be good to hang out and record this. So, all right, that's the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Jake. He's Mitch. This is the Bingo Hall Boys podcast. See ya.
See you later. See you later. See you later. See you later.